Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is LeeLee Genovese. It's your last name, and I love it so much. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
Thank you, Caroline. I'm great. Sunny day here in France. Happy to be here, having a wonderful conversation. What more can we ask for?
Wow, thank you so much. I would like to introduce you to the audience. So, you are working with people on taking action and helping them it clear on track in and feeling confident about taking on big scary dreams like career change, moving abroad, and starting to do the big life changes that have been heavy and weighing on their heart. You are a life coach. I love that very much. And I read that, or you told me you are now in France, in Annecy, and I was there. There is a great lake. Yeah, I know
Wow.
exactly where you are. And I love it so much. I was there in my youth with my best friend because French is my first foreign language. English came afterwards, but we will talk later about that. Thank you. And my first question is, what inspires you and what inspired you to become a life coach?
First of all, thank you. I cannot wait to talk about that. I have so many questions, and I love that. I love the synchronicities in life. And yeah, here I am in France. However, before being in France, I think the story of my life coach journey started in Japan. It was actually kind of a dark one. So hold on for a second. Um, it was kind of a dark and stormy night. No, it was stormy morning, and I was walking to work, and I noticed these thoughts I was having in my head, and I it's kind of extreme because I was thinking about like what else could I be doing except for going to work. I was dreading going to work so much that I had the thought like, my beautiful brain, being helpful as it is, said, what about being in the hospital? What if you were hit by a car? That seems extreme, I know, but I'm so thankful that I had that thought that I also had the intuition to say, hello, wait a second. This is not what I want to be experiencing. And I think that's an opportunity for a lot of us when those like intuitive hits or the things that come to us that feel really hard or icky or shocking as that was, because I didn't want to be harmed or hurt. My brain was just trying to help me get to somewhere else because I didn't want to be at work. And I think a lot of people can relate because we get in this place, we're stuck and we're feeling like I hate my job. Something is missing. I hear this story so often. And the best part is, I've lived the change. Like literally at that moment, I decided to listen, and it could be that easy. I know it's very hard to actually do the thing, but listening to your gut and listening to that intuition or whatever it is in you that says there's something more, I know it, but I don't know what it is after that. So that uncertainty of like, what else is possible? It's scary. I hear you. And how does it even happen? And all that imposter syndrome of what more could be possible, it can be hard to manage alone. But I'm so fortunate that I was connected to myself enough to start my own personal journey in that sense to a different level, because I've always been into personal development, and get curious. One of my best advice is just to get curious at that point. Like, what does this mean? What is this telling me? What is off balance in my life? And it's not always you need a career change. Sometimes it's like just a life transition in a different way that we weren't aware of because we're so busy in this life nowadays, right? Everything's calling our attention. So this is where it started for me to find my path to being a life coach and helping people with the similar situations that they think are impossible to figure out. And they don't have to do it alone. You can do it alone, because I did. And then I did pick up like pieces and had my own coaches along the way. But it's just so important. You don't have to be stuck, right, Caroline?
Yes, that's the best news. Thank you so much for sharing. I experienced this as well, a period where I felt alone, but in fact, I was not alone. You can always reach out to people and
Mm.
help, and a mentor or coach saves you time as well. I know. And my next question is exactly this. Who inspires you? What are your mentors and coach? Who is or who was the best coach you ever had?
Ah, well, I could talk about a lot of different coaches, but I think the most inspiring person or people are the people that actually take a chance on themselves and say yes to themselves in that way. Because I think it's one of the most courageous things to do for yourself, to believe in yourself before you believe in yourself and test the possibilities of life. And I'm getting so excited because I just believe that those things come to us because they're asking us to listen. So whether the fear and uncertainty is there, people that take a chance on themselves or risk something different. Also, something else that's not coaches, and I think it's going to sound maybe arrogant, but I think it's really important to come back to. And I think that I inspire myself. And I'm saying that because I think other people should come back to themselves. As a coach, I want to like work myself out of a job to inspire people to know themselves enough that they don't need to. I think we always need support in different ways, but to understand ourselves enough to just take time to look back at all the things we did get past and what we did to overcome it, the resilience that we already have. And I don't think we tap into that enough. So I'm proud of myself for actively trying to seek those things out. And I mean, it seems a little bit arrogant, but at the same time, I think we have to be a little bit connected to ourselves in that way, that we realize we have all the power we need in us. Besides that, I have a lot of coaches that have helped me. One of them right now is Simone Soul. She's a wonderful life coach. She predominantly works with like helping you get your message out there and talking to people like humans. And this is something I think we don't have in marketing and sales, like people talking and connecting to humans as humans, not as an extraction, like I need you as somebody that's going to give me money. And this feels so organic and real. And that's what I want. I want to have a fair exchange, like helping somebody, but also being able to continue this lifestyle to be able to serve people in that way.
Wow, I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for sharing. And if I may reframe this, talked about arrogance. What I perceived is it's your self-awareness and self-confidence as well. I would say this, you are in peace or at peace with yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yes.
think this, when you say I inspire myself, this was the whole sentence. And I
Thank you.
first heard it in one of my podcast episodes. This is the reason why I started the podcast. I had the questions for myself and I didn't know what can inspire me. And now I know. And then the first person saying, I am my greatest inspiration. And I thought, okay, we can say this. We can, okay,
Yeah.
if you say the same. Thank
I
you
think
so much.
I love that. I appreciate you sharing that. And that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation, because more people need to realize it. And a lot of people can think it's arrogant. And I think that's why I just put it out there. Yeah, maybe this sounds arrogant to some people. And honestly, I just think it's so important to come back to yourself. So I appreciate your input and us carrying that on. So
Well, thank you so much. I have another input, but this, because we are both coaches, then, I think it's good to trigger people, because trigger are always, they are showing us where to look next and what to work on next. I love this. If this is a trigger for you, for me, it was, I can relate to this. Arrogant. I never, if I may say this, I never wanted to be perceived as arrogant. This was my no-go word. Okay. But I saw so many people out there. I thought they were arrogant, this was a reflection. And then now when you said this, the word, I'm happy you mentioned it, because I'm not affected by it anymore. So
Oh my gosh,
now
celebration time. We must celebrate that.
But of course, I have another question for you. And how do you inspire other people?
Yes. Well, we all have our own opinion, but if you ask other people about me, I think people would say, like, I also want to like fight for the positive Pollyanna, because people say I'm very positive and I can annoy people to that extent. But I know about toxic positivity and like to stay away from it. And I think the difference with all of that is timing, like the timing of things. We need to grieve life's real humanity and experiences, and like to embrace like the heart. It's a real thing. But also I do truly believe there is some wisdom and information that can help us go forward through that. So that positive side and like the perspective, like I can just annoy people. And I love that, shaking it up, like annoying them, talking about trigger words. So important for us to listen louder or be like disrupted the regular train of thought, right? Inspiring other people. I also like to believe that when I'm a coach or just a human people connecting with people, like accepting them, like no judgment, like not judging people, because we are going to have natural judgments that come up from preconceived notions or our understanding of the world, the way we've experienced it, and catching those and still in a conversation, for example, like having a conversation to understand them better and to work on those biases that we have ourselves and those judgments. But that's what I come with. I come with like compassion and love, and I try to just understand people and connect in that way and be present, because so often with Instagram, social media, like people literally sitting next to each other on the phone, not being present, like is a gift to have somebody literally paying attention to you. So I think that is so important. I could keep going. Somebody stop me. But so many good things to try to inspire people with. So.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes. And my next question is, what are your gifts and talents? I know you mentioned already some of them and
Thank
talents.
you. That's such an interesting question. What would I say in an interview? Just kidding. Yeah, I did mention like the perspective piece, and I think it's so valuable in life, with life giving us all sorts of things on our plate, but finding perspective of how things make sense or could make sense, or the meaning behind it, having fun with that as well. So I like to have fun and like find joy and gratitude in all things. It's really helpful. Another thing is I love nature so much. So like connecting with nature and like aligning like who we are as humans. Like I lived in Japan, so the Shinrin-yoku, the forest bathing, the connecting to our senses, like I think those are talents that I just see everywhere I go. And it's something, if we can all just take one of those little practices, that we can like enjoy life in the little ways. And it's really not that complicated when we find joy in the simple things. Another thing I like to say about myself, I feel braggy. But I think, again, example, celebrate yourself. What is it great about you, and what do you love about yourself? And that helps you drive if you get curious. Like if you're stuck and want to figure out something else about yourself, like being curious in that way. I think I'm very good at adapting, because I've lived in different countries like half of my life. Sometimes, yeah, obviously the language barrier, you know, learned at least 3 languages. Amazing. We're having this conversation in your 3rd language. Freaking amazing. So adapting and being able to connect with people on different levels with different backgrounds. Just love that. Thank you for asking.
Amazing. You're welcome. And I think when you use the word bragging, you know, I have to laugh, because I think, yeah, especially for us women, I think it's important to, I would use the word looking back and realize what we accomplished. Yes, I would say I would say this, and I love it, and celebrate our successes, as you said. Yeah.
It's good you mentioned that, because as you notice, like I'm working on myself, I'm trying to be a better person, but still I use these words. It's a normal experience. I think it's super important to notice you can be like working on yourself in a great place, and still we're always going to have these parts of us that we're like squirmy about, and then we can catch on. So you help me like see that also right now, because I do want people to be inspired. I want them to know that you can have negative thoughts and still show up and be so darn proud of yourself. Like be in the middle of the hard and scared and still be like, I'm doing this. Like, so yeah.
Exactly, yes. And my next question is, do you have goals? Do you set goals or intentions? What is your goal for 2024?
Okay. There's always a goal, right? Written down, ready to go, things we're working on. And I love like the how of it all. It changes and evolves, which can throw people off track. But sticking with it, it's great. One of my goals this year is super fun. And I'm really inspired by your podcast. I heard one of yours, and you started in December, and just you're doing the thing. But just connecting with people like this. And I have this goal of meeting 1,000 people and having happiness hangouts. Because first part, just hanging out with people, talking about it, and also talking about happiness, because that's a very basic, simple thing that we all want. And then I also believe like what you think you become, or what you search for, you find, all those mindset things. And it's true. Like if you focus on more happy, you get more happy. So have a conversation with me, just talking about simple happiness. What does it mean to you? It feels amazing. And all the conversations I've had have been great. Besides that, I have another goal, which is improving my writing, because I want to be a better storyteller and connect with people in that way, in a transformative way that helps, like the stories I've experienced help me, but also help others see themselves in it and be able to like have confidence that more is possible. So yeah, writing, yay.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love this happiness project. I want to hear more about that later on. Of course, people can reach out to you, and you should reach out to LeeLee and make the connection because she's amazing. Thank you so much. My next question is, when they reach out to you, what can they help you with? What are you looking for?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm happy to be here right now. I think this is also a happiness conversation because we're talking about we can make our own rules, and I do think it is that. But having amazing conversations. If you want somebody to talk to or need somebody to just brainstorm things or possibly collaborate or even explore different possibilities, like that is my favorite type of conversation, literally as a human. If not, I am a coach, and if people want to explore like what I've been talking about, like the experience of like wanting something more but not sure where to start. Love talking about that because it is possible. And yeah, I have discovery calls where it's free and it's just for that. And maybe we work together, maybe we don't. Either way, you're going to leave with a decision about what's best for you next. So win-win and wonderful connections.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I see the point when people reach out to you, and please do, then you can have a discovery call, and it is a win-win for both sides, as I understood now, because it's about making a decision and find the perfect fit, of course. And I heard about, how is it, the word chemistry check or something like that? Does it exist? I don't know. I heard
Well, no,
the
I mean, you just said it and it sounds amazing to me. So it exists. I love it. What does that mean? It could be different things, and maybe that's the reason to show up. So we figure it out. What does this mean to you, right?
chemistry check, like if it fits or not, because
Mhm.
find out, and please reach out to LeeLee. And I, of course, I have a last, not question, it is a question, maybe. If you if you have a last message for our audience, please.
Ooh, of all messages in the world, that's a big one, right? But
Mhm.
as you might be able to tell, like this is a really important topic on my heart, like listening to that nudge. Like there's something like that's weighing on your heart. And I think this happens so often to people that they stop there and just listen, explore it, get curious, talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. If you want it to be, that's fine. But like give yourself the space. I think that we're so busy that it can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to feel so hard. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do it alone. So listen to yourself. Even if it doesn't end up being what you think it might be, because sometimes we have an idea what we want. I think just the exploration opens up so much and so many possibilities. So cheers to that.
Thank you so much for this interview. I enjoyed it.
Can't wait to talk to you.
Oh, thank you so much, and see you in the next episode.